No. Anyways, here she is. Morning, Claudette.
Good morning, Victoria. Good morning, Alex.
Morning, Claudette. Okay, so Claudette, one of the most obvious question we want to ask you this morning is sign language. Why is it so expressive?
Sign language is a visual language. As interpreters, we have to express the intonation, the feelings, the mood of the person speaking, and other sounds from the environment. You, as hearing people, hear it, but for the deaf, we have to visually show that through the signs.
Oh, okay. So when you're doing it, you're actually also including like the different sounds, not just the actual words that are coming out.
Yes. So if it rains outside, I would explain it's raining outside. It's heavy rain. The sounds are this, and it sounds low. It's loud.
Cruiser.
Whoa.
So that's the environment.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so Claudette, when you're doing when we see you on TV, you're not wearing a mask. Is there a reason for that?
The mask covers our mouth and nose. That's most or half of our face. For effective interpretation, we use our hands and facial expression, and we mouth the words as we sign. So the deaf need to see our lips for effective lip reading. Some of them do lip reading. And they need to see our faces and the facial expression, because sign language is a visual language.
And we notice that when someone is speaking, your translation, if that's the correct term, is lightning quick. How do you actually do that?
When it comes to sign language, translating is when you have to sign written words into signs.
Okay. Right.
But what we're doing is interpreting. This is when we have to listen to the spoken language and use sign language to relay the information.
Okay.
So, sign language is also expressed in what is called deaf language. Mm-hmm. Some people call it maybe the shortened version. And we use classifiers to represent a word in a sentence. So there's also what is called signed English, which is when we sign the spoken language word by word. So this is usually in educational settings or formal settings. For signed English, in a sentence, it may read or say, I am hungry. In deaf language, we may sign or say, me hungry.
Oh my gosh! You know what? That makes so much sense to me right now. It makes so much sense to me right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh!
So interpreting. So go ahead.
Sorry. So when they're writing it, like, so when we're like, so if we're talking to a deaf person, like with words, like writing it down, so how they would sign it to you, like what you just said, they would write it down that way, right?
Yes.
It makes so much sense to me.
In an educational setting, we're teaching them what hearing would say proper English.
Okay.
But actually, we sign deaf language. And some hearing people would say it sounds broken.
Yes.
Or they would say broken English. But that is the incorrect term. We prefer to call it deaf language.
That's so cool. Okay, so that means that the communication can be very quick, right?
Yes. Which is why I can be quick when someone is speaking. Mm-hmm. And it would be different if it's in a formal educational setting where the deaf person will express and say, I want everything word by word, because that person might be like really highly educated and wants to hear every single thing, you know?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, Claudette, does Fiji have like vernacular versions of sign language?
Yeah, sign language also has dialects. Some signs used in the West for a particular word is different to the sign we use here in Suva, for example. Even for the famous drink Coca-Cola,
right?
It's different in the West and here in Suva, the sign.
Seriously?
And because interpreters here in Fiji are bilingual, we can use a sign that is in English, but we mouth the Fijian words or the Itoke words.
Right.
And vice versa. There are also signs for slangs used here in Fiji. For example, Vaya, Zawati Kumanda.
Yeah. Oh, what?
And we also, and in this, like in the sentence, like mind your own business, we can sign that in deaf language, which will be very short. So, this is where you point a finger on your nose, and then you gesture a scissors. It's like cutting your nose, and that means mind your own business.
Oh, that's
like,
so cool.
Point to your nose, cut your nose, mind your own business.
Mind your own business. I'm going to be using that every day now to everybody. Claudia, this is really fascinating. So basically, I mean, like sign is a real language.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, with everything that comes with being a real language, with accents and dialects and slangs and all that kind of thing. I mean,
yes.
Excuse our ignorance, but this is truly fascinating to us, man.
Yes, because like historically, it's the Europeans, science from New Zealand and Australia, as teachers brought them in. It came into the schools, so it was through the schools that that children were taught. Hearing impaired children, deaf children were taught. And sometimes it's because of the difference in the personality of the person. Some signs changed along the way. Sign language is also evolving year by year. We have to catch up. Sometimes the deaf teachers, like COVID, the sign for COVID.
Right.
COVID-19, virus, all these signs we have to use, which the deaf have to they have to have an idea, and also they can give us ideas. This is what we use in Fiji.
Cool.
Okay, is that Ben? Claudia, just one more question this morning, and it's just okay. So obviously, you and your colleagues, you guys are up there doing a wonderful, wonderful job. A lot of positive comments, but there have been some comments that have been less kind.
Yeah.
If you could send out a message to those whom we have been maybe out of ignorance, maybe out of stupidity, but like what would you say to them about the job that you guys do?
Okay, firstly, I would like to thank all those who have supported us with positive feedback. When you're exposed in public, you're an easy target of negative and derogatory comments.
Yeah.
So for the ignorant, please come and learn sign language. Even when most people couldn't hear the sound during the press conference because of the heavy downpour, the deaf could understand the interpreter. That's the benefit of sign language. Sign language is beautiful language. We could gossip about you right in front of your face, and you would have no inkling.
You have to cut your nose. You have to cut your nose off your face.
Yes. And also the Fiji government's constitution supports the idea of inclusion. So the Bill of Rights is outlined in Chapter 2, Section 42. Under the rights of persons with disabilities, it states that a person with disabilities has the right to access places, transport, and information, and also the right to use sign language, braille, or other means of communication. So in my 20 years plus of experience as a Fiji sign language user, I worked as a teacher of deaf students and limited myself with events that did not create so much publicity, not until 2021. This is the first time I've had to do live press conference interpreting. I was initially hesitant because I am well aware of how brutal the public can be, especially with their comments. I did this because sign language is in my blood. It is my passion. I want to ensure that the Fiji deaf community are well informed. As interpreters, we have had to grow thick skins, thicker than our mask. We have had to keep focus and remind ourselves that we are doing this for our deaf community here in Fiji. We work passionately for the deaf and not for the hearing. Vinaka.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
One more question. Where can people go to, for like sign language classes?
Sign language classes organized by the Fiji Association of the Deaf. They can call 3319042 and check with enrollment, which is usually paid. It's a paid session. So they usually have it after work, maybe around 5 to 6 p.m. at Hilton Special School on Mondays and Wednesdays. So you have 3 groups, which is the basic, the intermediate, and the advanced classes. And each has their own fee. At the moment it's on hold because of COVID.
Right.
Because of the situation, eh?
Yeah, but please feel free to call 3319042 and get all the information.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Claudette.
Thank you, Victoria.
Good luck going forward, man.